Hey guys, welcome on in. It is Jordan with the betlocker.com here to bring you another recap video and see how we did this last weekend. See how we did in our betting game, our props game, new section that I wanted to add because it is the future. I do love betting props and made sense to add a prop section. And then see how our DFS cheat sheets did. So picks did great. Our DFS cheat sheet did great if you had some key changes. And if you were a part of the member of the Discord, I did give updates in there of who you should be targeting after the fact. So I know I've said that before. Friday, I put that sheet out, but you do want to make changes as ownerships projections come out for Saturday and Sunday. So having said that, let's dive on in. Let's go over the picks first, and let's go over, and here's our site right here, our landing site. When you do become a member, everything does unlock. The locker picks, DFS sheets, prop betting, and our daily picks, which our daily picks have been doing really good. So let's look at picks first for college, because that happened first, obviously, Saturday. So our lock of the day was Texas A&M, which is down here. This is why we preach. We were going crazy in the Discord channel back and forth with our members. And we did mention, make sure you get the line early because the sharp money is probably going to come in. And it did. And it moved that line to 7. But we do preach, don't let the hook get you if you're taking a minus line. So that half points to 6.5. If you did get lucky, which some of our members did. Another member bought way too many points. He bought 1.5 points, which he covered easy, but you're paying a lot of juice at that point if you want to. It's a safe play, though, and money's money, right? So if you got the line early at minus 6.5 and you bought that extra point at 6, you pushed. No harm, no foul. If you got it late, right before the kickoff started, you got it at 7. Even if you bought a half point, I mean, it's not going to happen. So these line makers are professionals, and they set those lines almost pristine every time when the game is close. It is insane. So that's why we're always saying don't get screwed by that half point. And if you did get lucky, got the minus 6.5 by the extra point, no harm, no foul, you got the push. So sound reason, defenses were crazy good. They played a hard-fought battle, and that's why I kept it as close as it did. So you can pause right here if you want to read the write-up. The dog of the day won, obviously, Oregon plus 3.5. You don't have to buy that extra point there. With the dogs, you can if you want to up, so you can go plus 4 if you want to get a little bit of insurance there. But as Johnny B wrote right here too, maybe sprinkle a little sum on the money line if you're feeling like, they're going to get the upset. And they did. So a lot of people bought into the whiteout game, Penn State, hard-fought battle, better ranking. But he did spot that they haven't played a real opponent yet. And that was spot on. So that was great. Oregon plus 3.5 covered. Money line also covered, which was awesome. Let's go to our let me go and look at, because our daily picks, let me see what our daily picks for that Saturday was. It was just Georgia minus 2.5. That obviously didn't happen. I thought that they were going to play them a lot harder. I thought that this was a Super Bowl for the Georgia coach, and it was, but now he is 1-7 against them. So that one hurt, but I only gave one because I didn't feel great about it anyways. Discord, we gave away an extra winner in, I can't remember who it was now. Let me look up the games real quick. Discord, we gave an extra winner with Notre Dame. It was a trap game. Arkansas, the line moved 8 points towards Arkansas, and we didn't see why. No injuries, nothing crazy going on. Liked Notre Dame in that spot. They absolutely smashed them. I also personally gave my friend, and I made sure that I told him that the USC game felt like a trap. Everyone was on USC. Illinois just got crushed. They're like, oh, Illinois is coming off an emotional loss. Are they going to be ready? I said I do feel like they are, and it showed, and they won outright. So I feel like they were going to be pissed. Nothing crazy. I didn't look at it anything in depth or nothing, but it just felt like a trap game. It felt like USC was the obvious pick, and everyone was taking USC because of their offensive firepower. But I felt like it was just a trap. The line should have been longer or bigger if Illinois was coming off that loss. So that was great. I just gave that to my friend personally because he asked me personally, and we post those in the Discord when people do ask. So that's great. Looking at every single game, watching every single game that we can, and getting those insights going. So now let's go to the free pick. Free pick in college one, and it was great. And like I said in my video, if you watch my college free pick video, I did a little clickbait because Alabama Georgia was the most popular game, but you don't always have to do those games. You just go with what's actually going to win and cover. Like I said in the video, there's nothing harder than going to a team that has burned you in the past, which this team burned us 3 weeks ago, and they covered. And North Texas, their offensive and their defensive was so much better than South Alabama. Started watching the game. The coaches were saying like, oh, South Alabama's ready to win, and it started to show pretty early. It went up 7-0, but then the true colors came out, and their offensive and defensive power in North Texas ended up getting the easy cover there. So that was fun. That was easy. And let's go to, and then I already went over my daily picks. Prop bets really hard in college to give, so I don't really do those. I save it for the NFL, and then coming up, NBA, our best for our prop bets is going to be the NBA, and there's going to be daily NBA prop bets for that, so that's going to be fun. So locker picks, we went 1-1 in the locker picks, and then we won our free picks, so that's 2-1, and then we gave an extra winner in the Discord, so 3-1 overall. And then if you do count the daily Friday night, we did lose the Florida State game, which was crazy. I mean, it was 14-0, then it was 21-14 instantly, looking like the cover, and then the defenses were just horrible. They start going back and forth, and Virginia got that upset, which was awesome to see, but not fun for the dailies. So let's go over our NFL picks. So our locker picks, and got our lock early. I spotted the kind of like in our write up here, but I did spot pretty early that you could beat the Vikings if you have. Well, I got kind of lucky because I didn't know Jaylen Warren was going to be out, and Kenneth Gainwell came in and crushed the day, right? So, but Pittsburgh, this was Pittsburgh's game. Ireland ties, all these things felt like Aaron Rodgers, was going to be playing a little bit more freely. And when it came down to it, I wanted Aaron Rodgers leading my team versus Carson Wentz. And, you can say, oh, you still got lucky, Jaylen Warren, whatever. But it felt like a defensive battle was going to be happening. Kind of did, obviously, in the first half of the game. And the Steelers really grind out and usually win those defensive battles. And I didn't want Carson Wentz and Jordan Mason to be leading the backfield, like to be trying to lead me to victory. I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers trying to be lead to victory with DK Metcalf and a very experienced coach, especially with probably what would be overseas wins. So lock of the day there, early lock of the day, crushed it. If you got them money line, awesome. And then plus 2.5, little bit of insurance. So we got that pretty easily. Now, the Buffalo Bills felt like I took them as a 3-star pick because it felt like they were just going to absolutely annihilate them. Everything on paper looked great, but the game is not played on paper. The game is played on grass, and that showed. And you started to realize really quickly that, oh yeah, NFL teams don't really care about crushing other teams. They just care about getting the win, no injuries, no nothing, and get off the field with the win and on to the next week. That was pretty apparent this week. They didn't really want to crush them. If you do buy into conspiracies as well, me and my friend were going over some funny things. I don't know if there's any way to prove these, but it feels like there is. 75% of the money in the books was on the Bills minus 15.5 or 14.5. So, and then 82% when I get to my free pick was on the Chargers minus 6, and they lost outright as well. So if you buy into conspiracies on the books are trying to make money, and the owners do get 5% stake into sports books, they can buy into 5% stakes, and then they get their ownership. What do they get? Endorsements, everything like that. Anyways, if you buy into those conspiracies and bet that way. I mean, there was only 2 home teams that did not cover in the early games, and it was the Bills and the Chargers. And it just so happened that 75% and 82% of the money was on those 2 teams. So I don't know. Maybe I'm going to get whacked for saying that later. So save this video. If anything happens to me and you hear anything happening to me, I just gave out a secret if it is true and if you buy into conspiracies. So anyway, it's pretty apparent. I mean, don't fall for those trap games. It felt like a trap right when I saw the game starting, and I was like, uh-oh, this isn't going to go well. And they don't care about crushing like college does. They just care about getting the wins and going. So pick and choose those when you want to. I do know that I put in only 48% of the time. Does, like I said, everything look great on paper? This game is played on grass. So that's why that one lost. Let's go to free picks. Let's just go over that since I did say that. Chargers minus 6.5. Again, 82% of the money. Everything looked great on paper again. This game is played on grass. I'll eat my words. I did not think Jackson Dart was going to be their savior and Cam Scatterbu. They kind of did shut down Cam Scatterbu. I mean, he did have a lot of run or whatnot, but I didn't buy into him. But I didn't see Jackson Dart running up down their throats for touchdowns and key third down possessions to get the first down. So that was great. I'll eat my words there. I don't think that they're going to win a ton of games still going forward. They got lucky with this win and kind of caught the Chargers off guard. And like I said, if you buy into conspiracies, maybe it just was a money-making thing. Who knows? I doubt it. So anyways, that one lost for us, but our dailies did great. Let's go to our daily picks. So Patriots, looked at everything there, looked at their offense, looked at their defense, looked at the matchups, and the Patriots looked awesome. And they crushed them. So that locker daily was great. Easy cover, easy cash. That was my best bet of the day. And I did put the most units on that bet. So made about 3 units on that one, which covered my Chargers and Bills losses, made the Steelers bet. So I profited on the day easy. But then also the trap game of the day, which, if you buy into conspiracies, 73% of bets was on the Packers -7. So here's why we took the Cowboys. And I was saying it all week, and I was talking with my friend, and he is a known Cowboys fan. But we were talking about it because I was like, okay, man, you're a homer. I get it. Like, you love them. But when we actually broke down the game together, when we were talking about it, was everyone's buying into Micah Parsons, and Micah Parsons is coming back to the revenge game, and he's coming back, and he's going to get 50 sacks, and he's going to be killing Dak Prescott. Well, if that's the case, and if you have to shut down one guy does not make up for all of the defense, and we know that for sure. Packers defense does look okay, but their secondary is attackable. So I guarantee, and we were talking about this, me and my buddy, if you shut down and if you talk about shut down Micah Parsons, do not let him get to Dak Prescott. Give Dak Prescott time, no matter if he's missing CeeDee Lamb, it doesn't matter. And that showed. They contained him pretty much all night. He only got 1 sack, and it showed pretty instantly that, I mean, Cowboys, it wasn't really lucky. It was just it just felt like a trap game from the start of everyone was going to be on Green Bay because Cowboys have getting crushed, especially in their secondary. But if you look at Green Bay's receivers, they're nothing special. They're kind of like, I mean, Romeo Doubs and then Dontavian Wicks. I mean, Tucker Kraft's their best guy, and they didn't guard Dobbs last night, which was insane. You think they would put someone on him or double team him, but that's just not the way their secondary is set up. So either way, it felt like a trap game, and you contain Micah Parsons, and you can keep up, give Dak Prescott time. He is still a very accurate quarterback, and it showed. It was the either get it all back or the get even more profit game. For me, my buddy, it was the get even more profit game, which was awesome. And the only bad thing, though, that I do hate is and I mean, I know this is going to be talked about across the industry now, like this whole week, is get rid of ties. I mean, I know you've constantly changed over and over the overtime rules, but get rid of ties. There's no point in tying at all. Hockey, it makes sense because it does like hold merit and why there is ties, and then it does like affect things in the end towards playoffs, but like for NFL, it doesn't feel like there is. And there's no ties in basketball. There's no ties, obviously, in MLB. Like, just get rid of them. It's so pointless. It does feel like it was a pointless game, even though it was a fun fireworks back and forth game. In the end, it was pointless. You guys tied. It doesn't matter. So, anyways, our daily picks was awesome. So that was great. And then free picks, whatnot. Let's go to our prop bets because those ended up doing great as well. So right here, I didn't do any write ups just because, I mean, it just feels like it's just a lot of noise if you do write ups. Trust me, I studied them. I understand why I took these. Our best one that I felt so good about was David Montgomery under 45 and a half rushing yards. You see this in the NBA all the time. And then you do see it in key spots in the NFL as well. So listen up. Prop betting. When they are coming off a huge, and you see it for the DFS streets too. It does work in these as well. When you do see a guy coming off an awesome game, their numbers get inflated. And then that's where you look at matchups and you say, okay, well, I'm going to take their under. Awesome. Everyone was starting to take David Montgomery's over. If you got his line early, it was 45 and a half. It went up all the way to 47 and a half rushing yards because everyone was taking the over because of his previous game last week. He got 150 yards, whatever it was, 151 yards. Well, if you look at Cleveland's defense, they were not giving up great rushing yards. And then if they were playing, and if it was going to be an actual defensive battle, Lions were not going to run David Montgomery. They were going to run Jahmyr Gibbs. He is more involved in the passing game and everything. So if you look at David Montgomery's rushing, he got 9 attempts for 12 yards. Oh, it felt so good. I felt so validated. So that one cashed easy. Like I said, like I'm going back to, you see it all the time in the NBA games. If a guy, usually they put his line at 3 rebounds, and then all of a sudden he has a 10 rebound game. But if you look at his previous games, he is literally averaging only 3 rebounds, and he has that one outlier game. Then they boost it, they double the rebound prop to like 6 the next game. You just take the under, he gets his average 3, you cash. It's easy. So they don't catch those all the time. They'll probably catch on a lot easier and more, and they probably have been over time lately. But man, if you spot them sometimes, that they're very exploitable. That's what we felt with David Montgomery. So got that pretty easy. Keon Coleman, the theory on him was he's their best receiver, better than Khalil Shakir, even though Khalil had that touchdown. So Keon Coleman had 4 targets, and he caught 3 of them for 45 yards. So got the easy over there. I do feel like they're still going to get him more involved in the passing game. So we'll see. But he is their best receiver. So I feel like they're going to get him more involved. Cash that pretty easy. Ashton Jaunty, anytime touchdown, whatever site you bet him out, parlay him with these guys on the pick sixes or whatever. Or if you have sports books in your states, then anytime touchdown was pretty easy. He didn't get 1, he got 3. So that was popping in our sims and our projections. And then Derrick Henry over 82 rushing yards. That one didn't hit, but that was because of game script. Lamar Jackson gave up, and he faked his injury. They're getting beat so bad. And then if that's the case, when they're getting beat so bad, they're not going to run Derrick Henry. They're going to save him for next week. So that was pretty obvious. If it was a closer game and if they were running the clock and if Lamar Jackson didn't fake his injury and want to just sit out because he was getting crushed, then maybe they were running Derrick Henry more. And I felt like he could have got to that prop pretty easily, but game scripts changed pretty quickly. So that was props. So that was great. Had a great weekend there. What was that? 1, 2, 3, and 1. So that is awesome. But if you parlayed these 3, you cash huge tickets, depending on what the odds you got them at, where you bet them at as well. So, and then last but not least, our DFS cheat sheet. We were pretty spot on with these stacks. The Raider stack let us down unless you had Jaunty with the stack, which was great. Trey Tucker, I was big on Trey Tucker because he kind of seemed like the Cooper Kupp of the team 2 seasons ago, or whenever Cooper Kupp went off with Puka Nacua, and always the check down guy and whatnot. So that's what he kind of felt like, but he didn't pan out, and he was so cheap. he was cheap for a reason. They didn't boost his price, and the projections were a little bit soft on him that I was seeing. Amon-Ra St. Brown did good. Tet McMillan did okay. Puka Nacua obviously went off, and he was the highest receiver yesterday, so nailed him. Nailed Omarion Hampton. That felt great when he was super chalky, but that's what you need to break down with DFS is but he was the only guy that was going to get all the usage for the Chargers, and that showed. He paid off, which was great. One funny, interesting one was Nick Chubb. Okay. So if you caught my DFS preview / first look video last week, I gave down the rundown of who I wanted to target in passing and in rushing. The third team on my notes was Houston. Titans were giving up on average 145 yards to running backs. Now, Nick Chubb, that's why I got Nick Chubb in there. I wanted to target that bad defense and everything. I was spot on with the team I needed to. I mean, they won 26-0, right? But out of nowhere, when Nick Chubb was running 64% of the time and running 64% of the snaps, they ran out Woody Marks out of nowhere, and he got 17 attempts over Nick Chubb's 13, and he got 5 targets and 4 catches, 50 yards for a touchdown. He was the cheapest. He was only like 4,400, and he ended up being the third highest running back on the slate because all of a sudden they ran him out. It's unpredictable. You can't know. 3 games in a row, they're running Nick Chubb, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, boom, it's Woody Marks' day. That happens in DFS all the time. You want to be early on guys instead of late. There was really no way to tell that to be early on him besides just trying to get different somewhere and targeting. But the concept of targeting the Tennessee defense for rushing and for opposing running backs, it was there. He ended up being in the Millie Maker lineup, Woody Marks did, which was crazy. And he was only 0.45% owned. So the theory was there. We had it spot on. The matchup that we saw was there. It was Woody Marks instead of Nick Chubb, which was crazy. So Tyler Warren, he did great. He gets targeted so much. He is so good. He's on my personal fantasy team. Heard so much about that kid coming out. And, man, he looks great. Hunter Henry did okay. He got that touchdown. He did great. Brock Bowers did okay. He got targeted. But the game script changed pretty quickly, and everyone loved the Raiders stacks, which I did too, obviously. But it was Ashton Junti who stole the show there and took a lot of usage away from the pass catchers. So Matt Stafford lineups looked great. Put that right here. The double stacks looked awesome with Puka and with Devontae Adams. Had him right here in the under 10% owned GPP. That smash. Drake May did okay. He had some touchdowns and wanted to get Trevion Henderson, which was looking awesome. He got that early touchdown right away, and we're like, okay, perfect. Our theory is working great. The last 2 running backs got those fumbles, so they're going to run out Trevion Henderson more. Worked in the beginning, and then all of a sudden they just started running everyone. So you want to target those running backs that are going to get all the usage, like Omarion Hampton, like Bijan Robinson, and like Bucky Irving. I know they had Rachaad White, but he did awesome. Bucky Irving almost got 30 points yesterday. I had him in a ton of my lineups. It was great. Ladd McConkey didn't get a lot of targets, which was crazy. Zay Flowers, not very great. Hollywood Brown did pretty good. He had that touchdown late on. Travis Kelce did okay. Dalton Kincaid, I was big on Dalton Kincaid. He did okay. He got to like 10 points because he got that touchdown. But if you spot those early like switches for ownership, so Dalton Kincaid was 15% owned. If you swapped him and got Dallas Goedert at 2% owned, and he got those lucky 2 touchdowns, little flip touchdowns, was so weird. But that's the key to DFS. If you spot that ownership rate and swap him out for someone that's less owned, and you get lucky and he gets those 2 touchdowns, you just pass half the field. So that was great. The winning Millie Maker, like I was going to tell you guys, that had Woody Marks in there, also had a naked stack of Patrick Mahomes. So you had Patrick Mahomes, Woody Marks, and Omari and Hampton in there. I can't even remember the receivers. Obviously, he had Puka. And and the tight end, he had San Fran's tight end that was 1% owned, the Tonjis or whatever. So you got to be creative. You have to know how to mix them right. My best stack, and this is why you need to join, because you have to join for Discord, was I did give in there. I'm liking Penix stacks with Drake London. And because Drake London was not going to be really high owned, but he was going to be, I feel like, going to be targeted a lot against that Carolina defense. And he did end up showing. The crappy thing about that was, so my best lineup, let me tell you, let me run it down for you. Penix stack with London and Pitts, did great. And then I mixed it with Amari and Hampton. Awesome. He ended up smashing his chalky roll. And then I mixed it with, I had Puka Nacua in there, obviously highest receiver on the slate. And I had Patriots defense. They got 11 for us. Awesome. Now, where I went wrong was I had Bucky Irving and I had Ashton Jonty and I had someone else. Well, no, those are the three mains that I had: Bucky Irving, Ashton Jonty, and I think I had Bijan in a couple. Anyways, regardless of the point, if you just take Bucky or Ashton and I throw him in here, I would be top 10 in the lineups. I tried to get fancy with my ownership projection, and I put in Derrick Henry because I saw he was less than 10% owned, and he looked like he was in a good spot against the Chiefs. If I swap that out and I put anyone else in my final receiver spot, I'm in top 10 of my lineup, and I'm looking at, that 4 to 5 figure score. And that's the game of DFS. I mean, I'm literally two pieces away. I swap out Henry with Jonty or with Bucky, like I had in all my other lineups, and I swap out Trey Tucker with anyone that would have fit after that, and I'm in top 10. Instead, I'm just min cashing and licking my wounds and just making my money back and breaking even. That's the crazy part about DFS. And every professional will even tell you that they only have usually one big score a year because it is so hard, but it is so addicting having all those teams going and watching on Red Zone on Sundays. So that's the fun part about it, guys. That's why I love to do these cheat sheets, love to do the prop betting, because it's there. The info is there. The info is pretty much spot on every time. It's just you still have to know how to mix and match it correctly. So that's it, guys. Long-winded recap, just because we have the picks going, we have the props going, we have DFS going. Maybe I'll split these up into 2 videos when I get that big score on DFS, because it's going to happen. Like I said, regular betting pays the bills. DFS is the retirement. So that's what you want to get. You want to get the retirement wins for those. But you want to get those betting wins just to pay the bills over the month. So join now and you'll get all of this included. Everything you saw here, you get all of our picks, you get all of our props, and you get all of our cheat sheets. And when NBA comes out, that's going to be the same. And when golf comes back in January, that's going to be the same as well. You're going to get access to all of this. On top of that, you get access to our Discord channel, which is awesome. We give out so many winners in there. You're not betting alone. You're betting with the community. You're bouncing off ideas off of like minds, like brains. I know it's no secret to Discord, but it is just so beneficial to make money. So join now, guys. Dirt cheap, $6.99 for a week or $19.99 for a month. And you get access to everything we have to offer, including our Discord. And don't miss out now, guys, because we are going to get this big score with these cheat sheets, and we're going to keep crushing these prop bets and these picks. All right, guys, that's it. We'll see you next time. See you guys.